Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing a contemporary Breitling Superocean 44 dive watch, stainless steel with a ceramic bezel. It is 44 millimeters in diameter by 14.2 millimeters thick by 52.8 millimeters lug-to-lug with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Throwing it on my wrist. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference. It's a big watch, no doubt. Measuring 44 millimeters, I'm probably right at the edge of what's appropriate for this watch. I'd say if your wrist is 16 centimeters circumference or larger, you're good to wear this watch. Wrist smaller, go with the 42 millimeter Superocean. Now, it is a substantial watch. One thing I like about these Breitling watches is that when we water test them here at Watchbox, we have to use an incompressible case setting in the water tester because they're just that stout. One feature I want to call out is that the watch is fairly thin. When viewed in profile, it will slide underneath a dress cuff. You're going to have to take my word for it, but this is actually a watch you can wear under a tight sleeve. Taking a quick look at the hardware and the software, you've got the Diving Pro 3 strap, contemporary. First, you've got the raised letters, and then you've got the embossed letters, and you have that transition. The strap, however, is thick throughout, meaning it is very tear-resistant and exceptionally durable. Matte finish is in good taste and nicely keyed to the sporting intent of the watch. You could say the same thing of the clasp, which is all satinated externally with no high polish. The clasp is Breitling's premier diving clasp, as there's no clamshell and it's not stamped. It's a machined component with a twin trigger release, so very solid and secure. The twin trigger opens it up, and then it's locked if you don't press both triggers. There is a push button slider internally for incremental sizing, and then you can see this is a brand new Diving Pro strap, so it is scored. Those are pre-cut lines to help you size it, and you have plenty of pre-cut available on both sides. You will be the first one to cut this strap as it's brand new, and we will size it to suit you. The case is simple but strong. It's got a circular, sort of concentric polishing across the lug hoods, as though someone ran it on an engine turn in a circle. You can see how that brushes around, as though it were an imaginary continuation that rings the bezel. The lugs are simple but integrated into the case band with a high polish, giving the profile of the watch a lot of strength. The crown guards come to a little bit of a point, so they're interesting to look at. They're not just a continuous rounded blob. They actually do have a little bit of a vintage influence in that point determination. Screw down crown, of course, and you can see the watch is 1,000 meters water resistant. And yes, I know and you know that 1,000 meters is not precisely 3,300 feet, but it's close. Press the I believe button. The bezel is ceramic, which means it's extraordinarily scratch resistant. If you're familiar with old anodized aluminum bezels, this is nothing like that. You have satination on the top and polish on the side, and it's going to stay that way unless you do something seriously stupid. The scratch resistance will help to shield the rest of the watch from scratches and scuffs, and I should mention, just as it's 1,000 meters water resistant, it features a helium escape valve that opens when the internal pressure of the watch is 2 to 3 bar beyond that external. Helium, during saturation dives, can build up inside the watch. Thanks to the helium release valve, you don't have to worry about blowing out the crystal or the seals. The bezel is fascinating in its construction, and I didn't expect this on a ceramic bezel, but this is how Breitling does it. You can see there are little metal screws, and those screws fix the bezel to the case. This is called captive bezel construction. It's something that Breitling and Zinn mostly do to keep the bezel fixed, even if it takes a hard hit. A snap-on bezel can snap off just as easily, so this one needs to be physically dismantled with the screws removed for service. It keeps the bezel on the case, even if you happen to graduate from the School of Hard Knocks. There's a polished chimney inboard of the bezel surrounding a dial that is matte black with a steep Ray-Hawk outboard that can be used for reading the minutes and seconds. The dial base is again matte black with rhodium-plated steel indices, applique rather than printed features, making this an upscale dial. It looks good. All the printing is white on black for clear definition, and then you have polished hands at center. The watch does include a hacking or stop seconds function, so you've got that. You also have a quick set date mechanism, so you can rapidly cycle the date. The watch, of course, is powered by a stout ETA 2824 base which means it is smooth bidirectional automatic winding. It has stop seconds, the quick set date, a 38-hour power reserve, 5-position adjustment, pivots on 25 joules, and it is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer, and thus very, very accurate. This is a handsome and versatile watch. Again, wrist 16 centimeters circumference or bigger. This is a way to get into a dive watch from a big 3 Swiss luxury brand without waiting 2 years for a sub. This is a timepiece that offers just as much capability and a fascinating and unusual aesthetic. Despite its price point, you'll wind up seeing fewer of these in the real world than you will Rolex dive watches. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. Back with the Breitling Superocean 44, you can see all 3 hands here are loomed, and the bezel pearl is a nice large target for spotting against the minute hand. Line them up, and whether in the dark or the light, it's a convenient 0 to 60 minute count up timer.